390 Wagon Master here. All right, so you guys have probably seen this radio before. This is my High Gain 8, and I have owned this since, well, it was brand new. My uncle and I went to a CB closeout sale down at the Salt Palace that used to be here in Salt Lake City. And this was right at the time when manufacturers, distributors, whatever, were blowing out their inventory of 23 channel radios. My uncle bought 2 of these and a couple High Gain 1 mobiles and a couple High Gain antennas, and I believe he bought a golden penetrator or a goldenrod or something. I can't remember. It was a gold anodized High Gain antenna, and then the CLR2, and I actually have that up on the tower, and I've been using that since the early 90s, like 92. And I love that ground plane. But anyway, just, I don't know. They're not the greatest radios in the world, but it has sentimental value. So I don't know where the other High Gain 8 base is. I believe that got stolen. My uncle owned a machine shop, and every once in a while he would hire laborers to come down and move heavy equipment because he was elderly. And one of these disappeared. But anyway, I still have mine. And I want to say I've had this since about 76 or 77. So I would have been about 13. Anyway, I have a Model 617 microphone. This is a little power mic that takes a 7-volt battery. And kind of a noisy, some of these were just like that, right? You know, this is a relay switched for transmit and receive. Anyway, it used to be, this thing used to be in dang nice shape, and I do have the box for it. I don't know what that little blem is there, and the meter lights were burnt out. So this was like one of the very first radios that I ever modified. This radio had a crystal in it that would go to channel 50, 27505. And I put that in the channel 1 through 4 slot in here because I didn't use that channel. I primarily hung out on channel 23 back in the day, and so channel 1 through 4 was the uppers, 505 being this one. And anyway, I don't have that. I no longer have that crystal. I put it back to stock, but channels 1 through 4 is about almost a full KC off frequency. So maybe this time I'll look for a crystal while I have it open. Anyway, the reason why I have this out is I'm going to tear it apart or tear it open and access the microphone wiring color codes here for Sean. This is for UDX-457 out in Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. So yeah, anyway, I put LEDs in here. This isn't quite right. It's a little off right here in the middle, but it does look good, I think. I mean, it looks okay. So I'm going to leave that alone. Now, as you can hear, it has developed a hum. Humming. So while I'm in here taking pictures for Sean, I am going to see if we can eliminate this hum. And I am going to assume that it is going to be a capacitor in the power supply section. I'm hoping that's all it is. It's probably what it is. And then we'll go from there. Now, Scott Smith's over at Scott's Rotor Repairs out in Colorado sent a new replacement gang of switches for me because when I was a kid, I believe I broke, so I was pretty hard on stuff, you know. I think I broke the modulation cowl and the CB, or it was one of these two. I know the CBPA switch was broken, and either side of this was broken. And anyway, that was a bear to replace, and you'll see why here in just a few minutes. So let's crack the old girl open. Okay, guys, sorry about the glare, but it is what it is, right? Let's see if I can get rid of that light. There we go, a little bit. Anyway, in order to take this apart, you have a bottom piece that you got to take the 6 screws out, and then of course you have to take all the knobs off, slide them off. These just pull off. This one here is you need to use a screwdriver for that. That is kind of keyed in there or screwed on. Anyway, pinned in there with the screw. So next thing you need to do is, you have 2 screws on the side. You'll have a screw there and a screw here, and this has got like a spring washer on it, so you don't take this one all the way out. This is part of the hinge, okay? Same thing here, and here are the screws. They're a rounded head screw. They're not like a finished screw. They're I don't know what you'd call it, like a chassis screw, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and then of course we have our steel spring washer screw here. You leave those on. The next thing you need to do is you need to take the 7/16 nut and washer off of the mode switch and use a nut driver. Don't use pliers or needle nose. That's just dumb, honestly. Use a tool. There's a tool for that. So anyway, what we'll do here now is we will peel this back like this. Bam, that's a rat's nest and a half. This kind of reminds me of like one of those Sears Road Talker 40s, a slant face or something. Anyway, I mean, wow, it's just crazy. This is not a Hitachi channel or a chassis. Sorry about that. This, I believe, is a Cybernet. This is a Cybernet chassis. It's like a Midland, right, inside. And it's pretty interesting. We got the dial-a-watt here. Love the dial-a-watts. This was so cool. When I was a kid, man, you opened up a radio that had a dial-a-watt. That was like, just like Christmas. Yeah, I smell the flux. I wish we had smell-o-vision here. This smells like a Tandy or a Radio Shack Realistic CB right out of the box. Who remembers that? Anyway, you know what? I already did put a filter cap in there. That is a new cap. That's interesting. Well, I'll swap that one out as well. Huh, and that's a good one. That's a Panasonic cap in there. Anyway, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this thing always hummed. If you guys have a high gain 8, let me know. Anyway, there you go. Big, beautiful meters. They look very Hitachi-ish, don't they? You know what? You guys maybe need to school me on this. This could be a Hitachi chassis, but I'm not sure. If I find any markings in here, I will let you know. But anyway, we got to get in here and take photos of that for Sean, so I will do that. And yeah, let's turn this thing around a little bit, get a better shot. So let's start back here. So there's the synthesizer board there, channel selector, plug-in crystals, if I remember right. Yeah, those are on sockets. Here is the board for the digital clock. The little metal back piece here. Of course, I put LEDs in there. And I like those in this radio. That seems to work out pretty good because it's got that smoked tinted glass. And I'm a fan of just standard incandescent bulbs, but I think for me and my eyesight, it's easier to see these meters with LED. So that's what we're doing. And this is, of course, a base mobile. So you could look at that with a Uniden plug. I need to do some more homework on this radio. Anyway, when I was a kid, I didn't know squat, quite honestly, and apparently I still don't. But anyway, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Love the dial-a-watt. I believe this is the SWR board here. And, of course, the mode switchboard here. That's just funky how they did that. Look at how they engineered this thing, man. It's just crazy. Now, when I change this board out, see how they have those posts on there where they wrap the wire around? You know, they have a tool for that, and they wrap it around. I actually unsoldered each individual post and did that. And because I was not sure if I was going to have to break back into this radio or not, I did not wire tie that up, but you can see how they were bunched. But I left all of these ties alone. All this is like OEM here. And we have our transmit receive relay here. And crystal filter here. Adjacent channel rejection on this radio is not really all that bad. It's very Midlandish though. So you know, fair to marginal. But power supply board here, obviously, transformer here. Not really sure what that one went to. It's a dual transformer setup. Maybe they may have a separate power supply for the clock. So anyway, that hum's coming in from somewhere, and I'm just not sure what the situation is on that. And then of course we have our speaker wires here. But yeah, pretty interesting rig. And let me grab a knob here and show you how this mode switch works. This is like very mechanical, right? But let's see if we can get a better shot. Anyway, it has a slide switch in here, and that's how you change modes with this. And that whole board on a standoff bracket here and everything. And seems a little wonky. It's not really that bad though when you screw everything back down, but that's pretty interesting. And I believe the final is a 1306 and 1307. I can't really see it down in there, but I'll verify that when we come back. But yeah, there it is. That's just crazy, man. That's totally spaghetti for sure. So I'm going to take a few shots and hopefully get some decent pictures so we can take care of Sean, and we'll come back. Okay, so I've taken some stills and I'll be emailing those off to Sean, but let's see if we can go a little bit more into detail. Let's start with this connector over here. So this goes up here into the headphone jack. This is the purple. I have another purple that goes off of that same pin that routes over here to the SWR board. We have the audio here, so we'll have like shield and hot, and there is a little capacitor down in there, if you can see that. We have this pink wire here that runs over to this post next to the relay, so I'm going to say that's a transmit control wire. And let's see here. And then we have a blue wire that comes over here, and that goes over here to like the mode board. So anyway, there you go. I hope that helps, Sean. That's pretty straightforward wiring. Now you have to have the mic plugged in to have receive, and I don't really know the pin out right offhand, but you can figure that out. I'm sure there's stuff like that on the internet. I've looked up the schematic on here. I do not have a SAMS for it, and it didn't really help. And even though they have their color coding and everything, I just don't know how or if they stay true to that coding anyway throughout the building process of these chassis. You know, they were pumping thousands of these things out a week. So anyway, there you go. I hope that helps. Okay, here's what she looks like underneath. And there's the power supply board. So there's the large cap, and then the little one that I just replaced. That was 100 microfarad at 25 volts. Now, I do have a good power supply cap that I put in there probably a couple of years ago. I think it was when I last, no. Was I downstairs when I fixed this? No, maybe a year or so ago. Anyway, it's a PTMB 035 Cox board. PTMB. I believe that's a Cybernet number. Man, it's been a long time. But anyway, that's what she looks like underneath. And we'll go from there. Crazy on the way they built this thing. Talking about wagon wheel and wagon burner, man. Back in the day, that was a pretty big time DX channel there, 2021. Okay, so it's all back together. It works, yada yada yada. So I replaced this other smaller cap in the power supply. Like I said previously, I put a good Panasonic cap, the main filter cap, in there last time I tore into this. And then I swapped out this big old bad boy, and this was, well, I'm not too familiar with this chassis. So, you know, what the layout is, but anyway, I saw a big cap in there somewhere between the transmit switching relay and the audio transformer, so I had a replacement, so I just figured I'll throw a nice Nichicon in there. I don't like them sitting around in them bins anyway, so I don't mind throwing caps at things, but anyway, if I have to. It took about 25% of the hum out, so I'm sure there's other issues going on here with capacitors and everything. By the way, these tested great out of circuit. There was not a problem with them out of circuit. They did fine. But anyway, it did make a slight difference. Like, you know, there you go, Foxman, 25%. So it's all back together, and maybe we'll revisit this in a couple more years or so. I don't know. I don't really like the way the sideband is on this. I want to say this is a high gain 5 chassis, and I could be wrong. You high gain guys will know. Set me straight in the comments down below, etc., etc. But it's an average radio. I do like the sound quality of it. It can get very bright on the high end, and then it mellows out right about 4 o'clock on.
Good. Okay. Okay on that.
Now that board was in a mobile. Man, that'd be great for mobile. Anyway, there it is. I mean, it's a kind of a good looking radio, I think. Anyway, just a lot of sentimental value, and it keys up, modulates just fine. Yeah, anyway, leave questions or comments down below. You know the shtick. But there we are, the high gain 8. Revisit this little bad boy every once in a while. And pretty cool. It's kind of interesting, right? I mean, my uncle and I acquired this in the old CB radio closeout. If you guys remember those dates, let me know. But they used to have like liquidation vans that would come into Salt Lake Valley back in the 70s, and they did stereos, CBs, waterbeds. Who remembers that, right? And anyway, like I say, we got this at a 40 channel or 23 channel closeout. I want to say this was 76 or 77. So I was about 13 or 14 when this happened. And anyway, sentimental value for sure, and I am receiving through the same antenna we bought that same day. That puppy is up in the air. And so kind of cool in that respect, right? Same radio, same antenna. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Take care. 3-9 and a 0, Wagon Master off this Wagon Rut base. And they're talking about Wagon Wheel and Wagon Burner on here right now, as a matter of fact. Old school skip frequency for sure. All right, take care, man. Cheers.
Don't call me down and stop running like that. I don't care about the one pill.